6. Command Toga, SRS runway, auto thrust is loose. 80 knots, thrust set. 6500. 3 knots. Rotate.
Testing. 1, 2, 3. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Boy, oh boy, it has been a long time since we've sat in this cockpit here. This is the Toliss A321 CEO Sharklet IAE engines, which have been the leader in Xplane Airbus development over the past forever, pretty much since they came out. There's really no one else that competes with Toliss on the Airbus front in the Xplane market. So you guys have been asking me for this stream for a very long time, and I always said, look, I'm all for comparison streams. I compared the Toliss and the flight factor back in the day. Even then, that was kind of a little bit off because one was a 19, one was a 20. But you wanted me to compare it to the Fenix, but I said until we get the same variant in each sim, I'm not going to do it. Well, guess what? Here we are. We have Microsoft 2024 here. The A321 from Fenix with IAEs and Sharklets is compatible and working. We have the same thing here at Xplane12. So we're going to go ahead and do a little comparison test today. Looks like the rain is just picking up here in St. Martin. We're live weather, live time. I'm going to lay out the ground rules for everybody here today because I know there's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of passion between your simulator and Pete Ski. Thanks for joining the channel, man. Become a private pilot. Appreciate you. But here at the end of the day, let me back up. Ground rules. So. Fly whatever sim you want to fly. Okay, this is not to convince anybody to fly this sim over that sim or my favorite sim over your favorite sim. I'm just doing this for straight up comparison purposes to see what we got in both. Does the Toliss flight model still hold true? You know, I'm hardcore into the Microsoft Flight Simulator. I think that environment is a more realistic environment to fly airplanes in, albeit there have been some downsides to the ever-changing environment in Microsoft Flight Sim. But either way, it's good to get back here and give this a test. Now, Toliss, the history with Toliss and this channel wouldn't be where it's at without Toliss. I mean, just to give you an idea who the Toliss devs are, when this channel first started, I was a small channel, 3,000 subs or less, and they released a 319, and you know, I put some information on the forum. I said, look, I like Xplane, I like Airbus, I'm an Airbus pilot. There's some things wrong here. There's some things that need to be changed, or in my opinion, this is what looks wrong, blah, blah, blah. What did Toliss do? I got a personal email from Torsten, from the dev, and said, hey, thanks for your input. Let me see how can I change it? Do you have any more information on this? Or do you have information on this? Why do you do it that way? And a relationship started, and then I'd like to think that that's kind of what helped move Toliss along towards more reality, and they have their own SMEs as well, but that was just the kind of people that Toliss are. Contrary to the other Airbus dev in Xplane, when they released their 320, I did the same thing. I posted out some content about how this is wrong and this is wrong, etc., etc. And their immediate response was to call me a fake pilot who knows nothing, and then proceed to ban me from all of the forums. So that's who you're working with on both sides of the aisle there. Now, this was many years ago, but that's just a little background between the two devs and how I came into the picture when it came to Xplane and Airbus. So. Rastik, thanks for the €5 donation, or the €5 donation, man. Are we taking bets? Anyway, my bet is on 2024. We'll see. We'll see what the bet is. I do have a test sheet here. So let's go over what we're going to test today on the stream, and then we'll get into it. So I don't know if you can read all this, but we're going to base some key components, and we're only doing takeoffs and landings today. I'm basing some key components 1 through 10, 10 being perfect. So we're going to be testing the acceleration, deceleration of the aircraft on the ground in flight. Control input response. This is a big one here. The control input response. This is probably what a lot of us are looking forward to. This is how does the airplane respond to my inputs? Okay, I'm going to be using the Moza AB9 Base, which has my FSprojects side stick on it. It's the most realistic side stick to date for flight simulation on the Airbus. Okay, if you want to know what an Airbus feels like, you need to get yourself a Moza AB9 Base. Get the profile that we have pinned in the Discord for flying Airbus, and that's as close as you can get. Now, I have other videos out there on how to get close as well without using force feedback, but we're going to be using control input response to see how does the airplane respond to different inputs in flight as we go along our circuits here in the pattern. Another thing that you guys are probably going to be interested in, inertia in flight and on ground. So do I feel inertia in the aircraft or in the sim when I'm flying around, making turns, yanking bank, when I'm putting gear down, etc., etc.? Do I feel inertia on the ground? This is going to be more so like when we're going down the runway and I'm using my rudder pedals to maintain center line. Am I ice skating? Am I sliding? Do I have any inertia? Is there any mass behind the aircraft on takeoff and landing? So we're going to do a landing. We're going to do one landing in each sim with real weather live time. The next landing, we're going to clear out all the weather, and it's going to be completely cav-okay. No wind, clear, boom. That's landing 2. Landing number 3 is going to be done with a 20-knot crosswind, direct crosswind from either the south or the north here. We're sitting in St. Martin on runway 10. So we'll have a direct crosswind of 20 knots for our crosswind testing. We're going to do crosswind physics in flight. How does the aircraft handle on final? Are we crabbing? What's the crab angle look like? What are the crosswind physics on the ground? I should have put TD above that, but on ground, as we're taking off, as we're rolling out, what is the airplane trying to do with the crosswind? And then crosswind physics on touchdown. So am I touching down? Can I decrab? Can I stay crabbed? How does the airplane handle with the crosswind physics on touchdown? and then roll out, essentially. So rolling down the runway. After we've landed, can I maintain center line? All right, so that's what we're going to be looking at today. Remember, 1 through 10. We're going to start with the Toliss first. We're going to do 3 laps in the pattern. Now, I have down here a separate set of criteria, which I may or may not include in the final tally. It's basically based on visuals. And the reason I don't know if I should do this or not is I don't know if anybody in the right mind says Xplane12 looks as good as Microsoft Flight Simulator. I don't know if that's even it's not. I know it's not a fair comparison. So we can compare a couple things: 3D model, sounds, textures, and then at the very end, obviously, the wing flap juice. What does it look like from the trailing edge when we have full flaps out? Do we have the juice? So I will add these up separately, so you can kind of see above and below. And spoiler alert, the Fenix is going to win in the visuals aspect all the way here. So that's why I put this dash line here, just to kind of be like, okay. But to be completely fair, the model, the default sounds, the default model, the default textures should be, in my opinion, included in a head-to-head comparison. So, but I do have the asterisks there. All right, so that's what we've got on the slate for today. We're going to start off here. I'll show you what we've got loaded up. I have a Toliss ISCS situation already saved. I think we've burned, how much fuel we burned already sitting around? About 300 pounds or so just sitting here on the ground. So what I have done is, matter of fact, let's go ground service. Let's reload it. Situation, ready for takeoff. I'm going to load the selected situation. There we go. Bring our fuel up a couple 100 pounds. So this is the same. I'm going to use these same exact values in the Fenix when we do the Fenix stream or flight after we do our Toliss flight. So right now, let's just take a quick look at the METAR. Let's see what the weather is doing. Looks like we got some radar actually out here. This first flight will be real weather, live time. And if I look at the details, Juliana is reporting wind 128 at 1.5. So we have a quartering headwind here, 15 knots, variable 108 to 148. So it's actually shifting. So we have a pretty shifty wind here at 15 knots, temperature 29, dew point 2, 29er, 9er 1 on the meter. And that is what is being reported, and that's kind of what it looks like outside here. So here is our Toliss 321. Now this is what's really trippy is the axis that I use the mouse on is backwards to Microsoft 2024. And I remember when I first flew Microsoft 2020, it drove me nuts that 2020 was backwards. But now I'm so used to 2020, I can't get used to Xplane. So if I pan the wrong way, forgive me. Alexandra Bellini, thank you so much for 10 gifted memberships here on the channel. That's very kind. I really appreciate that. Very, very kind of you. Thank you for gifting the 10 gifted memberships to the channel. If you pick one up from Alexandra Bellini, make sure you shout them out, say thank you. Gustavo says V1 should do a brief check of night lighting. Nah, we're not doing night lighting. We're not doing sim visuals. So we're not comparing any visuals of the sim today. We're not looking at the clouds. We're not looking at the terrain because Microsoft is going to blow that out of the water, except maybe airport night lighting. I'll tell you that right now. Xplane has better airport night lighting than Microsoft Flight Simulator. That is a given. But we're not going to compare. We're not comparing sims. We're comparing aircraft to aircraft, or the puddles vodka, or the puddles. AJ has a great suggestion. Perhaps a 5th category system depth non-standard config. AJ, we'll look more at non-standard stuff at a later date because you only have so much time. I got to pick up my father-in-law from the airport today around 2:30. So I don't have time to go into abnormals. But depending on how this stream does, if you guys like this stream, if you want to see more comparison like AJ is suggesting with non-standard stuff, hit the like button. If we have enough like buttons at the end of this stream, then I'll know that we can go ahead and do another comparison. Maybe we'll take it into the systems. We'll do some failures, perhaps side-by-side ECAM comparison, etc. So if you want to see that, do me a favor, hit the like button, and that way I'll know. That's the way you guys can communicate to me without actually communicating if you like the type of content that you see. So here we are, Moza AB9 Base Flight Sim Projects. I got to tell you, there was an update today from Moza, and it supports force feedback trim in 2024, which is pretty exciting. So take a look at that if you do have the Moza AB9 base. Shout out to Moza. They did send me this base, and I love it. It's been fantastic. It can do so much more than I've been using it for, but you guys know me, I'm hardcore Airbus, so I use it a lot for Airbus simulation. So, are you guys ready? Guys and gals ready? Gus says if V1 is, well, V1, the kids are following the V speeds. Does that make the Fenix father-in-law 80 knots? I don't know, Zippy. I don't know. But here we go. We'll take a look at our views. We got wing flap juice 1. We've got this one. We've got an external, just to give you guys an idea, because we are going to be grading some visual aspects of the airplane. Both forward engine views are with no windows. All right, so this is with no windows, and now we are behind the windowed glass. Now, these are completely default aircraft we're going to be looking at today. I will say I am really impressed with the with the modeling of the Sharklet, which, you know, there is some debate about Toliss modeling and how they do things, but I got to say, that Sharklet looks pretty good out there. They did a good job of getting that bend in there, a little reflection. It looks pretty decent. So let's go ahead and send it, shall we? We're going to do our first flight, real weather, real time, real weather, live time. So our V-speeds are already set. What's interesting, I did a comparison just to get the Fenix, make sure my views were working today, and they are. And I set up the Fenix EFB to have the same weights. I got within a few knot same numbers on the V-speed box. So that's saying something for both aircraft, right? I mean, we're both the same weight, both 321s, and they're spitting out almost identical numbers. The Fenix also spit out flaps too. So pretty cool to see that. We'll do 1,500 foot acceleration altitude. We'll keep that standard. It really should be 1,000 feet for our SOP, but that's fine. We'll do 1,500 feet acceleration altitude. Are you all ready? Let's juice up the sounds here. Yoga's in chat. We are not going to flex. Let's get leg 1 up and running. Here we go. Spool them up 50. Yoga's in chat. If you got a membership from Alexander Bellini, shout him out. Say thank you. Use that toga. Pay attention. Pay special attention to the EPR, the way the EPR moves. All right? How do I close that? Close that. Here we go. Man, Toga, SRS, auto thrust blue. We do have a crosswind from the right, it should be. Slight crosswind from the right. A little bit of weather veining there, getting that left rudder in. Looking good. 80 knots, thrust set. 100 knots, work out that forward pressure. I like the streaks coming off the window. Oh, I think we skipped off the ground. V1, we'll rotate. Nice wing drop there, positive rate, gear up, flyby. Been missing this one. Pretty cool. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the flight directors. I'm going to give myself the bird. I'm going to turn off the auto thrust as well. We're getting a EGT close to an over limit there. Let's come right back into the climb detent. All right, so we're going to take a little peek here as we're climbing out. Now, I don't know what this fading is. This is like the phasing into an overcast layer, I'm assuming. So it almost looks like the windows ice up. I don't know what that's all about. We're going to keep turning it down when there's F speed. We'll go flaps 1. Mr. Rainbow, thank you so much, man, for the $5 super chat. Appreciate you. My PC is updated and running well. Downloaded 24 and all is working well. Awesome. Problem was chipset. AMD chipset drivers. Well, you know how I feel about AMD. And Mr. Rainbow, thank you so much for that donation. I appreciate you. Glad you're up and running, my friend. Glad you're up and running. All right, we're approaching 3,000 feet here. We're going to keep the airplane turning on down one. I'm going to tell you right now, we'll pay attention to the rollout here. So I'm going to level, and I want to watch the spoilers as we roll to the left. Not much spoiler deployment out there, but the inertia feels pretty good. I'm going to re-engage the auto thrust so I can minimize. Oop, we're going to get an overspeed here. I'm going to use auto thrust so I minimize the human interaction with the thrust levers. So everything is airplane, is the airplane doing airplane things, right? So I'm not touching the thrust levers. It's on the aircraft systems to do proper auto thrusting. All right, we're on downwind. We're IMC here, which is unfortunate because I can't really see what we're going on. But remember, we got 3 landings with this. This is real life, or real weather. So we're going to keep real weather on. We got some streaking on top of the clouds. Now, I want to do this little test here like we were messing with the Fenix. Remember, I added a little bit of right aileron. We were getting kind of So no spoiler deflection almost at all there. There we go. There's a little bit. Really got to crank it over. I gotta say, the inputs they feel heavily dampened, much like the real aircraft. It feels good. It does feel good. There is no doubt that these inputs feel pretty good here. So while we're on downwind, we're going to maintain 3,000. I'm going to activate the approach phase. We're going to put 2 Niner, Niner 4 in the box. I think it's off by a few, but that's fine. 120 at 12. And temperature 28 is close enough. We'll just do a 500 alert height here in the MDA. Cool. We're not going to be following any approach stuff. So we're going to roll this auto thrust back. I'm going to come straight back to 180. Let's monitor the deceleration of the aircraft here. Coming back to 180, I'm going to nose over for a 3-degree nose down. VFE next, -10. Let's go flaps 1. Keep an eye on the deceleration here. There's the altitude alert as we descend below 3,000. That's fine. Is it just yours? It's very dark. It's very dark. Cockpit is very dark. That is an Xplane situation. So you can see here we're almost just hovering at flaps 1, which seems pretty normal. Let's go gear down and see how the gear drag works. I'm not going to use the spoilers because the spoiler axis is bugged in Xplane12. It won't let me use the axes and arm the spoilers. So we'll do the same test with the Fenix. We're flaps 1, gears coming down. I'm trying to decelerate here.
2,000.
Pretty slippery. Here comes our, let's go ahead and start a turn, line up for final here. Good input, very smooth on the inputs. It's very nice. It does hand fly very nice. Right at SP trap, let's go flaps 2. Let's get some drag out there. Let's take a look at the flap juice. Okay. Puts us on downwind here. I'm going to get down lower below the normal path because I want to get out of these clouds. Let's see if we can keep coming down about 1,000 feet here. Get some visual references again. It'll help with our comparison. So I felt almost a little pitch change there that you can hear the engine spin up. Let's see if we can't get down to 1,000 feet. Get on final here. Of course, the one time I want to do a comparison in Juliana, we've got low vis. This is good instrument flying practice, so we can really watch the ND. That should be pretty much on final. We're 1,000 feet. I still don't see anything, which is not good. We may have to kill the weather because we're not going to see anything here. Why are we hard IMC right now? We'll take it down to about 500, see if we can't break out, get some visual reference. I think I see some lights over here.
100 above.
Alright, let's go around. This is not what I want to do, of course. Frickin' Xplane weather wants to hose me. Alright, we're hard IMC at 400 on the ground. Let's do a go around Toga SRS nav. Go around flaps, flaps 1 step, positive rate, gear up. Xplane. Xplane doing Xplane things. What's good, we'll practice to go around here. We'll come up to 3,000. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll actually engage the autopilot. Solid white frost. I don't know why that is. Speed Alt Star. Let me double check Princess Juliana, latest and greatest METAR here. We should be broken. Visibility 6 with rain. Something's moving in over the field, I guess. We'll do a go around in Microsoft Flight Sim 2, Joe Planes, don't worry. We'll monitor the aircraft go around state here. This is actually working wonderfully. We've cycled the box. We're already in the go around phase. Here comes S speed. Let's see if we get a nice auto retract here of the flaps. Alt star. I'm going to select speed. I'm going to select speed 230. We should get, there's our auto retract. That looks good. Flap 0. Not bad at all. Okay, so now that we've completely done that, hosed ourselves right out of the gate, let's break off this approach. Let's fly heading 180, and we're going to clear the weather out because Xplane is not going to allow us to do normal weather. So what if I just do a rescan? Let me just see if I do a rescan of the weather. Let's see what it looks like. No. Okay, so let's just clear the weather out. We'll do manual, and we're going to go clear skies. So this is going to be, we'll just be on normal weather. All right, so no weather at all. So now we're back to VFR day. So now we'll try our this would be our attempt number 2, I guess. So I guess what we'll do on this first one is we will do our no weather landing, then we'll do crosswind, and then we'll try live weather again. We'll see if it's lightened up at all, and then we'll jump in Microsoft. But I mean, that was hard IMC. We were at 400 feet and it was solid white everywhere. So again, I don't know if you can, maybe you can check the webcams for Juliana, see if it's that heavy or not. But again, we're not comparing sims, we're comparing airplanes. I will say Toliss handled that go-around perfectly. We have our activate approach phase. We'll confirm that. We'll reset up for the approach, speed out star. We'll do the same thing. Oh, look, a boat. We'll do the same thing in Microsoft. We'll do a go-around as well. We'll see how the Fenix handles it. Well, I mean, you would at least see at 500 feet, you would at least see the water. I was trying to scud run it in. At 500 feet, you would see the water. We were completely frosted over. Like, I knew we were going to be below. I was just going to scud run in. But at 500, when my windows are completely frosted over, that's a thing that happens in the sim. When you go into an overcast layer, it almost looks like you're icing up. It does this weird transition of frost on your windows. All right, we're going to turn it in here. I'm going to get the autopilot back off. We're going to hand fly. So autopilot's off. Flight directors are coming off. Straight up visual approach. Let's dial our speed back to 180. VFE minus 10 flaps one. We'll leave the 2,000 foot alert there in case we got to go around again. Handling is nice, gotta say. We got a nice feeling of inertia, got a nice feeling of mass. We'll scoot in here to the final approach fix. Supposed to be at above 1700, so we're looking good. There's Juliana off the nose. Mr. Rainbow, thank you, man. I decided to buy 100 packages of pudding. I opened them all and cannot find the proof, so my conclusion is there's no proof in pudding. Nice. Thanks, man, for the $5 super chat. The proof is in the pudding. Well, we're going to find out here pretty soon. Take 2. No weather now. No weather is what we got. We'll spin this up to 3 so it doesn't keep popping at us. We're right at that VFE. Let's go flaps 2. Our VAP speed is 146. Gear down. Spoiler's already on. And we'll manage the speed. Should have done that first. Flaps 3. We'll line her up. Flaps full for flap juice. Alright. A little bit high. Let's see if we can recover. We'll dive it down. We'll watch that sink rate. We'll see if we can get her on path here.
1,000.
1,000 feet, sink rate check. We're a little bit high, correcting. I think we'll get her into the slot here at about 500 feet. I love the inputs on final. It feels very nicely dampened. It really does.
100 above.
500.
Just starting to see one red now. We'll keep coming down. I know our sink rate's a little high.
400.
There we go. There's our 2 reds. Let's get it in the slot now. Let's bring up that flight path vector, put it on the horizon line.
300. 200.
Feels very stable. Remember, we're in no wind right now. 0 wind, 0 weather.
50. 40. 30. 20.
Retard. Retard.
10.
5.
Not bad. Let's go around. We're going to take it up, go around flaps. Flaps 3. Ignore the CRC. Watch that tail. Positive rate, gear up. That felt very nice. Not really any float. We landed just a little bit long just because we weren't necessarily the most stable bunch there on final, but overall that felt very good. We'll start a right turn out here. Again, let's monitor any wing flex situation. There we go. Now we're getting a little bit of aileron deflection. Did I map my controls? Well, I'm using all the near settings on the controls because I'm using the Moza AB9 Base. Alright, there's 1,500 feet. Let's bring it back to climb. F-speed, flaps 1. Speed checks, flaps 1. We'll level at 2,000 feet here. And now once we get on downwind, we'll reset the wind for a crosswind. Select speed here, right at S speed. Now what I might do is I might have to turn the autopilot on just to get the wind up. Actually, I think it pauses the sim, right? So let's do a couple things first. We'll activate the approach phase. We're reactivated. Box is doing wonderful. We're a little bit high here, we're 200 feet over. That's okay. Let's go ahead and activate our wind layer now. So I'm going to pause the sim, and we're going to go to weather, customize. We need to add a wind layer, essentially at ground level. Can I make it like ground level 2 something? I was trying to see if I could make it wider, but I guess I can't. 200 feet AGL. We'll do it like so. We're going to do a speed of 20 knots. 180, so south wind. 180 at 20 knots. Let's add a gust increase of 5 knots and 0 degrees of shear. So 20 knots out of the south with 8 knot gusts, and we'll do no turbulence because I don't know how the sim handles turbulence. All right, so we'll go done, apply, and unpause. It's going to get a little unstable here. That's normal. We'll let it do its thing. Let's go ahead and manage up. Set it to the ground or it will phase out. Set it to the ground. So you're talking about just put it all the way down here at 0 feet MSL. I think it's like 10 feet. All right. We'll do that. You can see already we're starting to get a nice crab angle in here. Got some wave action. Now let's go ahead and get everybody configured. Let's drop the gear. Deep down V1's enjoying Xplane. Well, you know, so far it's been good other than that complete whiteout of weather. You see how slippery the airplane is? Go flaps 2 right on the limit. We'll get out of that S-speed trap. Now I'm going to extend out just a little bit longer here so we have a nice final. I do have a situation saved on final. What I'll do too is remind me once we're nice and stable, I'll save another situation here with the crosswind so we can do the crosswind test again. We might want to do this on another side. There's S-speed. We'll go flaps 3. Now we're so tight to our final, we are probably going to overshoot with the wind. Let's go ahead and see here. Let's go ahead and rip in a right bank. See if we can keep it nice and tight if we can. We'll do a little bit of an overshoot, I'm sure. Monitoring that VLS, I'm going to pitch up a little bit. Feels very stable. And flaps full.
1,000.
Let's see what we're looking at. We're going to level off here at 1,000, fully configured. I want to see how the airplane handles that. So typically you don't want to be fully configured in level flight, especially in a 321. Let's see how the engines respond here, see how the auto thrust responds. Seems to be doing all right. You can see here, look at our track. It's blowing us to the left. That's good. Let's take a look at our engine settings. 1.17 here. We're level flight, fully configured. Burning 5,500 pounds a side. It's pretty good. Check the cabin. Cabin is skid. We get a little bit closer here. Once I see 2 whites out there, I will save this situation so we can do another test with our crosswind here. All right, so now is where we're going to establish our crab. Alright, there's one white. That's close enough. Let me do a quick pause. Let me save this right where we are here. Again, this is awesome. Crosswind final. We'll save the situation so we can... we're going to bring this one to a full stop. Alright, so what we're going to do for a full stop, we're also going to go auto brakes low. So I don't have any... This is all airplane. We're going to leave the auto thrust on. We're auto brakes low. I might have to change this like 180 at 20. That changes it at all. Alright, we got 2 whites, 2 reds. Nice crab angle established here. Significant. This is a stiff wind for sure. 28 knots direct. Our eyes will never recover from this. Turk. This is a very steep crosswind here.
100 above.
We're looking stable. 2 whites, 2 reds. Work it on down here.
Minimum.
So I'm going to attempt to decrab this like I would in the real thing. Right about touchdown, we're going to roll it out. We'll see how the aircraft behaves. A little low, that's fine for St. Martin, right? You want to come in over the fence as low as possible.
100, 50, 40, 30, 20,
Retard.
10,
5.
Full right aileron. I'm full right aileron. Not touching the brakes. We have manual brakes. That was pretty rough. I'm using left rudder here to keep me on center line. The airplane is trying to weather vane into the wind. Manual brakes. A little squirrely. Definitely a little squirrely. You can see that. Alright, we'll slow it down. Stabilize, stabilize. Okay. That was interesting. I was not expecting that. I was not expecting that to overpower the airplane all the way on touchdown. Let's watch that replay. Hopefully it won't crash. Yeah, we're going to run the replay on that one. So let's go replay mode. Let's wind it back. Because this is a crucial one here for our grading procedure. We'll wind it back. This almost felt like what 2020 used to suffer from. Except 2020 would be uncontrollable into the wind. So let's watch this. Let's watch this again here. Can I bring up my flight controls?
50, 40, 30, 20.
Retard.
So I'm
10.
rolling it in. So here I am, full right aileron. Airplane is still having a hard time getting back on center line. We'll eventually get on center line. To be honest, it's not terrible sound. Let's watch the landing in slow-mo here. Let's see if we can analyze this in a slow motion replay. All right, so we're coming in. Probably should have been a little bit more right of center line to begin with. So right here, I begin the decrab. You'll see I've got right aileron. We've got deflection. This is all correct. This is looking good. Trying to decrab the aircraft. Land with a little bit of crab too. It's not the end of the world. There you go. Decrab. Actually, pretty decent. A little bit of crab still. We get a nice touchdown both mains, and then this is so right here. This is where things go right. This actually was pretty good. This is a little bit of a skill issue with that stiff of a crosswind. I probably should have offset myself a little bit further to the right of center line. But right here, if this was a real landing, everything is looking good right here. We decrabbed, we got the airplane down, the spoilers are deflecting, and then it goes awry. So after touchdown, I'm full right aileron now trying to keep the wing down, and we have an uncontrollable wing lift. We get awfully close to a pod strike here. You can still see I'm full right aileron because this aileron is deflected down. You can see the main is sliding out. We're still sliding left, getting a heck of a weather vane effect. Still sliding, and eventually we neutralize and get back on it. So we'll go ahead and so now what I'll do is I'll stop that. That replay actually sounded pretty good. So I'm going to stop replay mode. I'm going to unpause the sim. Now let's load our Toliss Crosswind final. We're going to load. We're going to get right back to where we were. We're going to try it again. We're going to give it 2 attempts. Let me make sure everything's back. We'll put you back on. We're speed mode, auto thrust, everything's configured, full flaps down. Here we go, let's try it again. Same wind, we're not going to change anything on this one. The only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to be a better pilot and offset just a little bit more to the right to help me stay more over the center line on our initial touchdown. Retrofly Diffie, what's up, man? V1 on the Pappies. Pappy V1. Hey, man, thanks for the $5 super chat. Look, you made me get off the final approach course because I was reading the chat. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for that. We're on the Pappies, baby. All right, we're going to try to be right of the center line here. So this is, again, once you get up there, 20 knots sustained crosswind. Pretty stiff when it's legitimately 20 knots direct.
500.
It does help to kind of cheat a little bit to the right of the center line. So I'm going to attempt that here.
400.
Because I know in that decrab I am going to lose some ground in the decrab. You're going to lose ground over the center line. This is where piloting and skill really comes in. I mean, this is where the rubber meets the road right here in crosswind landings. So you can see now I'm a little bit more offset. Ooh, I'm feeling the gust that we put in there. That felt pretty good.
100.
Rocking it down, rocking it down.
50, 40,
Start
30,
minimizing
20,
that descent rate.
Retard.
10.
5.
That was a little harsh. See, I'm full right. 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 That one was a little bit more firm, but that roll up. Left pedal here to keep us center. Let's take a look at that one more time. We're going to pause. Let's see how we did. Let's run that back. I'm going to say here on final, you'll see the airplane doing this little yaw moment on final. That's the gust that we put in here on the sim. And the airplane is responding very well. You could almost see, it almost looked like I was decrabbing early. I wasn't. That was actually just a gust releasing, and the airplane was kind of getting more on center line. So the physics on final here felt real good. Like, watch, I'll show you. So we're coming down. We're looking good. Right about here. This is not me decrabbing. That's just a gust. That's just the wind. The wind's changing.
50, 40, 30.
All right, so we're holding it out.
Retard. Retard.
10,
5.
So that was definitely a little bit more firm, but we're down. See, I could even cheat a little bit more to the right. So let's watch this happen here. Let's watch it in real time first. So we're coming down, we're coming down. Roll it out, roll it on. There we go. Now here's where we get that wing up and we're sliding out of control. All right. Now I don't know if that's happening because maybe it's saying that we're bouncing and we're uncontrolled. So let's give it one more shot. We'll do one more, crosswind final. We'll load it. We'll try one more time. Let's try one more. No pod strike. It was the same thing as before, though. It just after touchdown, I get this uncontrollable roll to the wing comes up uncontrollably. I'm gonna try to make this one a little bit smoother, and we're getting lighter here on our speed. I'm gonna come up. Let's go 148. Give myself an extra couple knots here. Let's actually come up a little bit more. Let's go 149 in this wind condition. Give ourselves a little extra juice. Turk is right, though. The user interface is miles ahead of 2024. So I was hoping, you know, if Microsoft could have had half the user interface that Xplane has, it would be undeniably better. The user interface in Xplane is fantastic. You don't have to read a manual on how to set up controls and views and bindings and replays and all that. That is without question superior in Xplane as the user interface.
400.
All right, last attempt here, and then we're going to go through our grading sheet. Last attempt here. I'm going to try to get a smoother landing on this one. I don't know if it's triggering a bounce, and that's what's causing our wing to roll up. So I'm going to try to be real smooth on this one here. We'll do a Slustava landing on this one. We'll float it out for the butter.
50, 40,
All right,
30,
decrabbing.
20,
Retard.
10,
I'm hard on that aileron. We're down. That was better. I think our winds were a little bit less. I'm full left rudder. I'm full left rudder. I'm going left brake now to bring me back to the center line. I think we had a significantly less wind on that touchdown, but that did feel better. But that's okay. We've got ourselves a good data set. Let's watch that replay, and then we're going to grade the aircraft. So we're going to wind that one back. All right, let's watch this one. Look at that crab. Oh, that looks great. We'll watch it from the runway touchdown here. Good D-crab. Hold it out. You see how it's still blowing me? That's a stiff crosswind. That's a pretty good landing in that stiff crosswind. This is what I'm talking about. You can really see it here. Watch this. This is a pro tip. Doesn't matter what sim you're flying in. When you are landing in a crosswind like this, the reason you want to offset is because as you decrab, you're going to lose some lateral position over the center line, especially in a 20-knot wind and more. So watch what happens here in slow motion. I want you to pay attention to the aircraft's position over the center line. So we're holding it out. We're starting to decrab. You see, we got a little bit of left rudder. We're starting to decrab. We're starting to decrab. And if you watch, right now, the airplane is beginning to lose position over the center line. You see that? We're starting to drift, and I could have decrabbed even a little bit more. But you see how we're losing position? That's why you want to cheat just a little bit. We get our right main down. Left main comes down. I had to have a whole lot of aileron in there to not completely roll up on itself. We'll watch it from right behind here. See, I'm full right aileron, full right aileron. Overall, not terrible, though. Not terrible. All right, so we're down. We're stable. Let me end the replay. Let me zoom you all the way forward. All right, done. And then we're going to exit out, flight, toggle replay mode off. Let's go ahead and stop here. Let's set the brake. Out of curiosity, let me go ahead and go live weather. Let's see what we got here. Download real weather. Let's see what the real weather looks like in Xplane, and then I'll put it on final. Oh my gosh, it's 0 viz in Xplane right now. All right. So while we sit here in the rain, as a matter of fact, let me do this too. Let me go Toliss, open ISCS. Let me go on final at 800. Let me load the selected. Yeah, there's no way we're going to see the runway here. All right. So we're going to leave it paused. Let's do some grading. And then we can't auto land at Juliana, unfortunately, because there's no ILS for us to auto land on. So let's do some grading here, and let's talk through this. Let's start acceleration, deceleration. Remember, 10 is perfect. The acceleration felt really good on the takeoff roll. It felt really good on the go around. I really don't have. I'm trying to think if there's anything. If anything, I would say maybe it's not. Maybe it's a hair too slippery, perhaps. I don't know. I'm trying to knock it out of a 10, but honestly, let's go ahead and give it. Let's go ahead and give it a. Well, that would be deceleration. For acceleration, let's give it a 10. Let's give deceleration a 10. I really can't sit here and say I saw anything that was unbelievable or not believable to the real thing on this one. Maybe it was, if anything, a hair too slick, but then I was thinking, well, I was sitting there on the S speed, so the engines were up, so it wasn't at idle, so that's really not a deceleration problem. Decelerating on the ground physics with the auto brakes, everything felt fine and believable. So we'll give it 10 out of 10. For the acceleration, deceleration. Control input response. Oops, didn't mean to do that. I'm going to give this one an 8. And the reason I'm going to give it an 8 is the airplane handled really well. However, it almost feels like it's handling not, I don't want to say sluggish, but maybe a hair too dampened. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to give it I'll tell you what, we'll give it a 9. It's not worth it. It's definitely, it's up there. It's almost perfect. It's almost perfect. I think a 9 is a fair grade. A 10 being perfect, I mean, it's very hard to get a 10. I'm going to give it a 9. I think a solid 9 is good. Inertia in flight felt great. Let's give that a 9 right off the bat. On the ground. So on the ground, we had a little bit of issue maintaining center line. I got a little bit of slippery sliding, especially even on the non-crosswind landing. So we're going to give the inertia on ground a 7. The on-ground inertia felt a little bit off to me. I don't know why. It just felt like I was chasing, and maybe I was on skis almost. I don't know. It wasn't terrible, but I could definitely feel something off there. All right. Crosswind physics in flight. In flight, I think it looked great. I think it was a little over-dramatized on the crab angle, though. So for that reason, we're going to give it an 8. I think that crab angle for 20 knots there, I mean, that was pretty crabbed. That almost looked more like a 28, 30 knot crab angle coming down. I have seen the runway behind the A pillar before on a crosswind, and that was up there at 35 plus knots of direct crosswind. So at 20 knots, for it to be that far over, it almost seems a little bit over exaggerated. So we'll give that an 8. Crosswind physics on, we'll come back to that. On touchdown, being able to decrab and losing our position, that was good. We're going to give that an 8. We're going to give that a solid 8 on touchdown. Crosswind physics on rollout. Rolling out, it felt good. I was battling. I had full left rudder, and I actually had to use a left brake to maintain or to actually bring the aircraft back to the center line. I had to use the left wheel brake to bring the airplane back to the center line, which down there on the ground at 17, 18, 20 knots on the ground, shouldn't have no control of bringing it back to the center line. So we'll give it a 7. The crosswind physics on the ground, though. So after touchdown, we were getting this uncontrollable, almost uncontrollable wing up issue. So I'm going to knock this down. I'm going to give you I'm going to give it a 6 on that one there. I mean, I really had to baby it and roll in and hold full right aileron to keep the wing from coming up, which not at 20 knots. You're not going to hold full right aileron to keep the wing coming up, and it's not going to blow you all the way over like that to almost get you into a pod strike. So we're going to give that one a 6. All right, looking at the 3D model of the aircraft on the outside, what do you guys think? I'm gonna give it a 5. We'll give it a 5 on the 3D model. There's definitely some discrepancies and some issues with the modeling. The sounds, default sounds, we're gonna give it a 7. I actually think that reverse sounded was pretty dang good. Reverse sounded good. Hearing the engines up front were believable. All seemed pretty believable on the sounds for all default. I know there's sound packs you can buy, and it actually didn't sound that terrible. Textures, cockpit textures, believe it or not, I mean, these actually look pretty decent. Cockpit textures look pretty decent. This airplane looks wonders better than it did when it first released. Wing textures, cabin textures, engine textures, that's where it's going to hurt. Now, unfortunately, I don't have it separated, so we're going to just put it all together. For textures, we're going to give it a 6. And the reason we're giving it a 6 is because even though the cockpit might be up there at a 7 or an 8, the cabin, the external texturing is probably down in the 3 to 4 range, so we'll split the difference. And I tell you what, let's give it a 5 on texturing. All right. Again, we'll add these separately at the end. Wing flap juice, the final wing flap juice. What are we looking at? I got to be honest with you. This actually looks better than I remember. This definitely looks better than I remember. Now, for Xplane standards, I think this is pretty darn good. For Xplane standards, this is good. For the standards of next generation simulation, doesn't even come close. But we have to keep in mind we're comparing 2 separate sims. So wing flap juice, because it's really good for X-plane standards, but not for next generation standards, we're going to lock it in at a 7. I think that's a fair assessment for the wing flap juice. If X-plane was our only sim, you know, asked me 4 years ago, these textures I'd be happy with these 4 years ago. But the problem is the sim itself as a platform is outdated, so I think that hinders a lot of the development in making them look better. So that's what we've got. We've got 10, 10, 9, 9, 7, 8, 6, 8, 7. So pretty high marks across the board. Let's go ahead and close that. I don't think we're going to see the runway here. We're real weather, we're live time. Let's go in here real quick. We're configured. Gear is down. I'm just guessing to see if I can find the runway and try to do a landing. I don't think I can't even see anything. Yeah, we're toast. Let me pull up terrain mode so I don't go into the
500. 400.
We're a half a mile and I don't see anything. Yeah, we can't land here. Oh, oh geez. Yeah, escape. We can't do our real weather test because it's literally zero viz down here. It's zero visibility. I think I saw part of the terminal building there. So, we'll climb it out, and that's going to wrap up our X-plane assessment. But man, I mean, it does... I tell you what I want to do real quick. I have an idea. Let's set this up. Let's get autopilot engaged. 160 on the heading. Open climb. I'm gonna clean up. I need you to move up and go flaps 3. I went to 2. That's too far. I want you to accelerate to 250 knots. Flaps 1. We're gonna clear the weather out. I'm gonna do a test that we can do. We're gonna go clear, done, apply, level at 3,000. The model looks pretty good, I gotta say. I mean, for Xplane, this has come so far from where it used to be. It really has. All right, we're gonna go clean 250 knots, and we're gonna do an acceleration deceleration test at 3,000 feet here. I want to compare the Fenix and the Toliss for an acceleration deceleration test. So we're level, we're no wind. I'm going to let the engine stabilize. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go Toga thrust, and we're going to start the chroner, and we're going to see how long it takes to go from 250 knots to 330 knots. Are you ready? So here we go. Toga, chrono's on. Click spots seem off too. We're just testing an acceleration clean. .330, 26 seconds. So we're probably going to overspeed. I'm going to come back to idle, and then we're gonna reset. Once it hits 330, we're going to go right back. I'm going to start the chrono at 330 knots. Started. All right, so I'm going to jot these down. Acceleration, it took us 26 seconds to get to 330. And deceleration is, we'll see how long it takes us here to get to back to 250 knots. And then we're going back into, we're going to go test the Fenix. Strobo, I know enhancer mods will change the visual aspect. We're not doing any mods. We're doing default to default. We're looking at the airplane, just basic characteristics here. Look at this deceleration. This is good. No, we're not doing stalls. We're not doing any abnormals. We'll do abnormals if you guys hit the like button. If we end up with more than 500 likes on this stream, then I'll know that you guys want to see more in-depth stuff. We're just doing normal stuff today. Normal stuff. Tyson, I have run this. We do it every couple of years and do an EET. Just to show you how long it takes to accelerate at high altitude versus low altitude. I don't remember the figures off the top of my head though. All right, right back to 250 knots. Lock it in at 1:24. All right, so I'm going to jot that down. 1:24. So that's, we'll call that 84 seconds for easy typing. 84 seconds. All right. Let's end it there. Let's go ahead and quit the sim. Our X-plane tests are complete. So you're going to have a black screen here for a second. Let me put you on this screen for a second as we load up into Microsoft Flight Simulator. Now the good thing about this is we can do it actually loads pretty quick, unlike 2020, right? So give it a second here. It's going to pop up. Black screen will go away in stand by. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now I have a black screen, so we both have black screens. And we have our loading. So we're loading in. Sustavo, I have the weights the same. We're taking off at 170.6. And I'll do it at the end of the testing, so the fuel burn should be relatively similar. But I've screenshotted the weight and balance for the Fenix, so we're going to have the same exact weight, same exact test. I'm going to attempt to do the real world traffic, or the real weather traffic pattern first. We'll see if we can or not. Pure flight models, direct law, you test flight model, ELOC, and SEC. Philippe, yeah, we've done all that exclusively on this channel, or extensively rather. But that's not what we're testing today. We're testing just the basic handling of the airplane, because less than 1% of you, probably nobody but maybe 2 or 3 people in the chat, have actually gone in direct law and alternate law for that stuff. So we're skipping that for this stream. Maybe this stream will decide if I buy 24 after using Xplane for years. Aviation Medias. Look, this, all I'm doing is I'm just trying to put this out there for you folks to see. All right, now what I wanted to do too is I think it'd be fun to do default 330, Laminar 330, and the default 330 in 2024 as well. I'm thinking of rolling with this, you know, doing GA stuff as well, throwing GA comparisons direct, throwing 330 direct comparison. Captain Canada's here. What's up, man? Oh boy, Xplane and Microsoft the same title. Pitchforks out. I know we've had to. I've laid the ground rules out for all the Timmies, as you like to call them. Yeah. So we've laid out the ground rules. We just completed our Xplane testing, and now we're going to try it in the Fenix, and we're going to see how it compares. And finally, my eyes can relax. Yeah, there is no comparison of visuals. That's why we're not comparing the sim visually. There's just, I don't think anybody in the sim can tell me, or anybody in the chat can tell me with a straight face that Xplane12 looks as good, or looks better, or even close to looks as good as 2024. It's just, that's not what it's for. Now I'm getting this interesting little stutter. Hopefully this will clean up. Maybe hopefully that was just a loading screen. Okie dokie. So free flight. I was messing around with Gus's favorite airplane there, the Mitsubishi. A321 IEs. We're going to be using the house livery on both aircraft. So we use the Toliss house. We're going to use the Fenix house. So Fenix house livery, IAEs. That looks good. Save and back. Let's go save and back. Hopefully my wing views will work. They worked earlier. Princess Juliana. I'm going to load in directly on the runway. We are live weather, live time, I think. Runway 10, start flight. Beauty is only skin deep. Yes, big boy. The cloud streaming is one of the worst things out there, man. I agree with you. Microsoft, with all the steps forward that they took, streaming everything is like massive steps back. Oh, we might have to restart. I didn't launch the Fenix app. Hold up. I was supposed to launch the Fenix app before loading in. Let's see what happens here. We'll see what happens. Let's give it a minute. Let's let the airplane let's let the airport load in. Oh, look, Juliana, real weather. It's not zero visibility. I think we'll be okay. I'm going to let the airplane boot up here. Okay. I think we're going to be okay. So now I got to change my controller config. This is like, yeah, 1 and 20. Okay, so that's normal. That's good. That's all working. Is this bound properly? Did this change over? Okay, cool. So, survey says, hey, look, and I have wing views. See, I'm not new to flight simulation. I've been doing this for a couple of years now. I know how to bind a wing view. Yesterday, we had bugged wing views. I don't know what it was. I don't know why that happened, but we are back in the sim. We are live weather, live time. Let's just confirm that. Sometimes it gets messed up. There we go. Live weather, live time. There we go. I was lying to you. There we go. Gus, how does that look for live weather? That looks much more believable if you ask me. Are we on the wrong runway? Are we on 10? Where's the terminal? Yeah, we're on 10. All right. So here we are. Live weather, live time. We got some rain shafts moving in. This is crazy. I always use Juliana as a test bed because the weather's great. And now, of course, I want to do this stream, and the weather is not it is not conducive to testing. But for those that haven't seen the model, I know there's very few of you. We'll just kind of do a quick little pan around here so you can see the model of the Fenix. We did the same thing in Xplane. A beautiful model here of the 321. Beautiful engines. All right. Let's get back in. Let's take a look. Let's pan through our views just like we did on the Toliss bird. There's our front engine view on both sides. Over engine view on both sides. And trailing edge on both sides. Now, I missed a bunch of stuff earlier. Let me get back to that before we get all up here. We had Chandler Turmal. Thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. I appreciate you. Fly-by-wire Roscoe says, damn, like my takeoff from MSB could have used skies was def over dramatic. Thank you, Fly-by-wire, for the $5 super chat, man. I appreciate you. I do apologize for missing those earlier. And AJ, the $3 super chat. When do you call Lester? Is that a 5 miles or 3? Lester? What? Are you talking about, like, calling the ball? I don't know what you're talking about, AJ. Get out of here. Thanks for the $3 super chat, though. Appreciate you. All right. Let's load the aircraft according to what we had in Xplane. So I'm going to activate the panel state. We're going to get everything up and running. We're going to put flaps, I believe, into position 2. We're going to go mass and balance here. All right. So I am going to... Oh, it's GTA 5? Yeah, no, I didn't play GTA 5. I'm pulling up my screenshot of the ISCS. So here we go. Now, I'm going to have to adjust the passenger's number, but we're going to get the same weight. So I'm going to bring you up to, let's do 210. All right. And we're going to go 6,200. We need 11,000 pounds of fuel. That's our constant. We know that. And we're going to need a little bit more cargo. So I'm trying to get this right on the money here. Come on. Give me 11,000 even, please. Oh, I had it. There we go. 11,000 even. 164.9. No, we need more than that. We need to be 170 essentially. So our zero fuel was 159.6. So we'll run this up. 159.6. Our gross weights, our zero fuel weights are exactly the same. Our planned gross weights are exactly the same. We're going to apply and load. We're going to do that instantly. Aircraft is loaded instantly. That looks good. All right. Now I can get rid of this. So now if we let it run, our fuel burn and weights will be the same. Calibrate null zones, you say. See, I don't know why. I even fixed it. I mean, it's perfect now. You see how it's centering? Before we had an issue where this wasn't centering. If I could make a suggestion to Fenix, can we get rid of the ECAM? Like maybe make it a EFB pop-up. Because it's not a real ECAM. So it kind of throws you off when you fly around with the status message there. But I get what they're trying to do. Oh, see, it actually went away. I mean, again, I get what they're doing, but I would like it to not be an ECAM. We'll do a magic barrel ref 29 or 88 constraints up. We're going to set this to 3,000 feet. That looks good. We're going to come over here. I have to load the box because I can't save it, unfortunately, like we can with the Toliss ISCS. So we'll do a quick and dirty St. Martin to St. Martin here. St. Martin, we'll just do Bourbon 1 for testing. Cost index of 5. And 3,000 cruise altitude. Wonderful. Flight plan. We're going to get the weights. Don't worry. St. Martin departure, runway 10. This is just so I have some indications on my ND. We're going to just put the straight in 10 there. No star. We'll insert that. That looks good. Progress perf page. Init B. And now we will send the weights to the McDo. Success. Wonderful. Perf takeoff. We're going to manually put this in. St. Martin. Runway 10. We'll run dry numbers because that's what we did in the Toliss. Sync live and sync final. Calculate. Look at our speeds. Very similar. 36, 41, 43 at flap 2 up 0.5. We'll send all that to the McDo. 36, 41, 43. Flap 2 up 0.5 on the trim. Up 0.5. Wonderful. We are all set. Okay. Fenix uses its own outside flight model? I believe so, yes. I believe so, yes. We'll do auto brakes max. We don't have any ECAM. TO config. This up. Position 1. Auto. Turn you on. And arm you. Signs and cabin. All right. So, we'll get the lights on too. For juice. All right, we're all set to go. So this is actually a good test. We tried to do the real weather test first. We couldn't do it in Xplane because Xplane gave us 0 visibility, Cat 3. They gave us Cat 6 minimums in Xplane12 for default weather. So we're going to attempt to do this with real weather on the first flight. and then we're going to clear the weather, and then we're going to do our crosswind comparison. So are you all ready to rock and roll? Let me cycle the parking brake. Predictive wind shear's off. Here we go. That company message is going to bother me, so I'm going to come over here. I'm going to clear it out. Ah, we got 6 non-revs, so I guess Gustavo is joining us on the jump seat. So we'll put him there. Oh, one thing else I have to do is I have to turn off free look momentum. Nope, not you. Again, user interface fail. All right, we're set up. Are you all ready? Sounds are up. Let's give it a shot. Let's see how it feels. Forward on the sticks, pull them up 50. Pay attention to the sounds. Pay attention. Well, don't pay attention to the sounds because they're going to be better, but pay attention to the EPR and how it works. And actually, let me bring up my cam so you know I'm not lying to you. Here we go. Spool them up 50. Look at the delay on the EPRs. Very good, just like the Toliss. Here we go. Toga. Toga SRS, auto thrust blue. You can hear the phase out. We're going off into the rain. I'm going to put terrain on just so I don't hit the mountain up there. Love the runway textures. Again, this is all default. There's no add-ons other than the airplanes you're looking at. Thrust set, 100 knots, check. Neutral. A little bit of rain starting. V1. Rotate. Rotate, in the words of Captain Canada. Since he's here. Oop, I have my gear lever in the up position. Did a positive rate. Gear up. Navin. I'm going to get ready to spin the heading bug over and we'll turn everything off. Feels good. Alright, let's go ahead and go flight directors off. Bank angle check to the right. Getting some cloud turbulence. We didn't really see that in Xplane. Alright, I'm going to lower the nose. Feels pretty good. We're going to bring it back into climb thrust. Again, I'm going to leave the auto thrust on for the duration, or for most of everything that we're doing here, because I want the auto thrust to compare against each other. Let's go flaps 1, speed checks. Approaching 3,000. I'm going to bring it out here to a tight downwind leg. Very similar to our first takeoff in Xplane. We were pretty much hard IMC the whole way. Kind of see we're almost topping out at 3,000. Very good control inputs, just like we did in Xplane. I'm going to roll to the left. Seeing a little bit of spoiler deployment there. Very nice. Flap 0. Just because I'm right at that speed. We'll lock it in here. 3,000 feet and we're stable. Looks like we've got about a 12 knot quartering tailwind right now. Let's do our roll checks to the left. So I'm going to roll in just real lightly. Alright, roll check back to the right. I'm going to come a little bit further right. Now I'm going to do a more aggressive roll back to the left. See that deflection? I like it. That feels good. Let's see how it looks like from our PFD. So we're stable, 230 knots. Let's do a roll it into the left. That feels very good. I do feel the inertia. We'll come right back to the right. I feel like I'm flying something with mass behind me. Fly-by-wire is doing a good job at maintaining that bank angle. We've already tested that in depth, so we know that that all works. Let's go ahead and begin configuring. So 2988 was the current meter on the Magic Barrel ref. Let me hit that again. Yeah, 2988. I'm going to guess at the winds 120 at 1.2. We may not even be able to land. We'll see. We'll do a 500 alert height here in the Barrow. Perf. Set manage speed. Activate, confirm. Let's lower the nose. Flaps 1. Now again, we're idle thrust. We're trying to decelerate here. We're flaps 1. We're monitoring our deceleration rate. There's the altitude alert, just like the Toliss. You see how slippery this airplane actually is. So let's drop the gear. We're not going to use the speed brake. We didn't use it in the Toliss birds. We're just going to use the gear here. We're getting a little bit more drag. Very believable. We're approaching that SB trap, so we're right at the limit. Let's go flaps 2. Let's roll it into the right, see if we can't get ourselves on a low and slow final approach here and get below the rain. This deceleration actually feels a little bit better. You can see that I want to say the Toliss bird actually was a little bit more slippery than this one, and I'm inclined to say that I might have to readjust our rating on the deceleration on the Toliss 321. This airplane is still slippery, but not as slippery. Now we're going to do what we did in the other airplane. We're going to go full flaps. We're going to fully configure, and we're going to maintain level flight. We're going to take a look at our parameters. So again, real life, you wouldn't try to be fully configured in level flight. That's not something you want to do. All right, so let's go ahead and level off here. We're going to drag it in low and slow. We'll let the airplane stabilize on just under 1,000 feet. And we're going to drag it in, and we're going to look at all of our parameters. Again, we're letting auto thrust do auto thrust things so they can get a direct comparison between both auto thrust systems. I'm going to do my best to hold it level here. So one thing off the bat, I'll tell you, the auto thrust does seem a little bit over responsive. You can hear it working a little bit more aggressively than I would expect. There we go. Looks like it's starting to stabilize. I'm going to try something just so I can look at the numbers. I'm going to try to hold 1,000 here. I'm going to put autopilot on here just to see if I can get a stable number on the auto thrust. Yeah, see how it's jumping around? Turbulence settings are, I believe, low. It's given us roughly the same, 67%. 1.15, 4,400. It's actually a little bit, well, I can't tell. It's not really stabilizing itself. Let me do a manual thrust here. So these engines are actually being a little bit more efficient. We're burning about 5,000 aside in the Toliss. It's close. We're splitting hairs. Let me go back to the auto thrust mode here. All right, autopilot's off. So, rough ballpark numbers are the same, are roughly the same. I can tell you though that the auto thrust is over responsive to what's happening in the sim, for the most part. But we're level, we're stable. What's our VAP? 146. I believe that's exactly the same as we had in the Toliss. Let me get flight recorder up so we can record all these. Get back on the center line here. Flight recorder is recording. Okay, flight recorder is recording. I'm flying again. Got to get back on center line. That's a bug. All right, we're a little bit high, just like we were on our first approach in the Toliss. Let's see if we can get her stabilized here around 500 feet. Sync rate check. Now, this is one landing. We were not able to do a live weather landing in Xplane, so keep that in mind. This is a live weather shot here. We didn't use these exact parameters in Xplane. I'm feeling some little swirlies down here. They feel good. I feel momentum. I feel inertia behind me, behind my inputs.
Retard. 5.
We've got a left crosswind now. Alright, we're going to go right into a go-around. Go-around flaps. That felt very nice. Toga SRS go-around track. Easy on the rotation. Pretty much right in tail strike zone. Positive rate, gear up. Robert, that's a good question. Is it the sound that's over-responsive, or is it the actual auto throttles? I think it's the auto throttles. I think it's the auto throttles that are a little bit over-responsive. Alright, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to establish us here. We'll get a lever climb. Let's pull for 250. And I'm going to go autopilot on so I can configure the weather. Let's get the autopilot on. Open climb 3000. Flaps 1. Speed checks. Flaps 1. Spin it around here to a downwind leg. Where's the IEs don't roar from up front, so that's something that Fenix has correct because of the phasing of the engine and the thrust of the 321 IE. You get that phase out essentially when you go Toga, but when you bring it back, you hear it, and you heard it when we brought the engines back. Slightly below S speed, but let's clean it all the way up. 319, agreed with you, Sam. 319, best cockpit sounds out there. Alright, we'll clean it up. We're probably right at VLS. Yeah. Let's go up to 2. Let's go up to 240. Alright, so now we're going to configure our weather. So that was kind of a bonus landing. We didn't even get to do that in Xplane. So we're going to go clear skies, no winds, no weather. Magic barrel ref update 29091, which is basically standard. We're going to let the airplane get re-established here. I'm going to stop that and save that recording. Is Fenix test 1 real weather. That recording has been saved. All right. Now we're going to turn everything off and do a visual approach. Let me reactivate the approach phase. Activate confirmed. Winds are calm. Altimeter is fine. So autopilot's coming off. Flight directors are coming off. I've noticed a bug here with the Fenix in like a go around, you lose some call outs, but remember this is not even officially supported yet. Steven, thanks for the 30 months of support, man. I appreciate you. This is FS24 for Xplane12 is a stoppable force versus the movable object. No, we're not comparing sims. We are comparing aircraft in each sim. You can't compare sims, man. You can't. Nobody in their right mind can compare sims and tell me Xplane can hold a candle to what Microsoft can visually. Zippy, what's up, man? Sweet 16, I officially joined the Cali crew. World Flight 25. Nice, man. So you're going to be stateside. Well, that's fantastic. All right, we're going to configure up. Need some chapstick. My lips are getting chapped here all this talking. I need a home cockpit to do World Flight. There has been some discussion about me joining a World Flight team for next year. More on that later. Flaps 3. Yeah, those flaps are juice. Alright, we're approaching a 5-mile final here. I'm going to hang tight on that full flap. Handling. I'm going to be completely, I mean, the only there is a difference between the Toliss 321 and the Fenix 321. The only difference that I have felt is the Fenix is slightly more responsive in roll, and I don't think it's an unrealistic responsiveness. I almost think if I could put a number value on it, whatever value responsiveness the Xplane 321 is, and whatever this one is, if we could come to the middle ground for roll, well, I don't even know, man. This is pretty dang good. Because I noticed in the Toliss 321, it does take significant movement to get the airplane rolling. Takes significant input on the side stick, which I should be able to do just almost little pressures. You see that? Look, I'm just going to go just a little bit of a pressure to get me some roll in there. This is 0 wind, although we got a 2-knot tailwind. I mean, it feels good. Next up, P3DV4 Patrick Borkman. Thanks for the $10 super chat, man. I appreciate you. Very kind of you, man. Thanks for that $10 super chat. No P3D, man. P3D is dead to me. Can I get some dead to me's in chat? P3D is dead to me. I don't have the time for a third sim. What's interesting here, though, is the auto thrust issue appears to be tied to the weather, because look, with no weather, the auto thrust is responding appropriately. I'm going to get a little bit higher, and I'm going to nose over. See the auto thrust come back? So it looks like the auto thrust aggressiveness is tied to the real weather changing and the wind variation. That might have something to do with the turbulence setting. I will verify that here before we do our crosswind landing. But let's go ahead and try this. Let's go ahead and start the recording. Crap, I forgot. Recording is on. No wind. Apples to apples 321 landing here. Let's just see how we do. No wind, so I'll probably smash it. But let's just see how it feels. No call-outs either. 50, 40, 30, 20. I don't have any call-outs, so I smashed it. Ooh, I don't know. That felt pretty good. That felt pretty good. Let's go around flaps. That felt pretty good. Positive rate. The no call-outs are throwing me off. Gear up. We're going to stop that. All right, now it's going to get spicy. Now we're going to do our crosswind test. Let me engage the autopilot. Let's get up to 250 knots. We'll pull for that. We didn't even hit acceleration altitude yet. That's why. Heading. Oh, 3,000. Gosh dang it, I want my mini FCU working. Thrust climb open, climb heading. I thought my heading bug worked on the Bravo. I guess it doesn't. Spin it all the way around to downwind, and then we'll get our crosswind up in there. Just joining now, FSX model better in 2004. So, as we look at the wing juice here, as we roll out, what's interesting is we used to always say that FSX was on rails, right? What's crazy to me now is Xplane feels more like it's on rails than 2024. I'm not talking Xplane, I'm not talking FSX rails or P3D rails. I'm just saying that is a way that I could describe Xplane12 feeling right now. Is it almost feels like it's too stable. So here we go. We got my side stick is completely fine. Get out of here. All right, so we're leveling 3,000. We're on downwind. Now we're gonna do. This is where we get some real tests. So I'm gonna save this as Fenix Test 2. That was calm weather. And now we're going to see if we can input winds without... Oh. Live weather off. Wind layer. So what did we do? We did winds from the south of 180 at 20. Enter. Gust speed, we're going to do 8 knot gusts. Now is that 28 knot gust, or is that we're going from 20 to 8 knots? We're going to leave it at 8. We'll leave it like so. Okay, so there's our crosswind. We're looking good. And then what I need to check, though, is we have to do a pause, and we have to check the turbulence under assistance, turbulence medium. So I'm going to run it to low because I want to see if that affects the auto thrust at all. With Xplane12 being more on rails than 24, is that typically Toliss, Fenix, or every airframe? Well, Agent B7, we're only comparing the Xplane Toliss and the Fenix 321. So I'm going to reset my winds here. That all looks good. 180 at 20. We're activated, confirm. Let's manage speed. Let's go right to gear down. If I recall, the Fenix will try to maintain the set speed on the dot, but I think real aircraft has a few knots leeway. Correct, Zippy. There is a little bit of leeway for that, and actually the Neos are different too. They actually have like soft ride and all that. But I think though what it is, and I think this we talked about it before, is it's not necessarily the Fenix. Well, it is the Fenix, but it's the auto thrust, the way it's reading the variable wind data. So if your turbulence is up to medium or realistic, the auto thrust gets very jittery. And I don't know if there's a way to smooth that out. But also, keep in mind, this airplane isn't even officially supported yet. That's what's crazy. AJ says, oh no guys, I'm literally crying right now. Oh no, why are you crying, AJ? AJ probably is literally crying. Him and Gustavo are the #1 X-Plane fanboys in the chat. They love X-Plane. And look, there's nothing wrong with X-Plane. The Toliss has put up some really good numbers. We're going to have to grade the Fenix here in a little bit. We'll be grading the Fenix after this landing. But the Toliss put up some great numbers. And I'm going to do the same thing I did. I added a few knots, right? So let's go 148. We're almost identical weights and speeds still, which is a testament to both airplanes. They're being the simulation of both of them. Oh no, I will cope here because he is Delulu. Gus, how am I Delulu? The blade element theory versus CFD arguments reminds me of Nintendo versus Sega. Yes, oh my gosh. Does Microsoft have blast processing? Samuel Joseph, thanks for the $3 super chat. The X-Plane guys in suits will be making a visit to you. Look, I don't think I've even said anything negative about X-Plane. The only negative experience we had on that X-Plane flight is it gave us 0 visibility when we should have had light rain and overcast at 1800. So that's really the only thing that made me rage in X-Plane. The Toliss flying felt great. I haven't flown that airplane in over a year, maybe even years. And the handling is almost identical, guys. It's almost identical to what I've experienced so far. This flight right here, this landing is going to be, this is where we're going to see some separation. I'm hoping. I think. So this is what plagued Microsoft 2020 was uncontrollable crosswind physics. Literally uncontrollable. We put the Fenix in the dirt because we couldn't maintain centerline. I had auto brakes on the Toliss, so I don't touch the brakes. We're going auto brakes on for the Fenix as well. Recording is started. So we are set for recording. Ready to go. So we're 2 whites, 2 reds. Look at this. Look at the difference of crab angle here. You see this? In the Toliss, I believe we were a little bit further over, and my flight path vector was further off to the left. The Toliss crab angle at 20 knots was a little bit over-exaggerated. But this is looking good here. So there's one difference I'm noticing right out of the gate. So what I'm going to try to do is actually do a full stop on this landing, and then we'll rewind, and then we'll try to do another landing. Our wind is shearing off, though. We may have to adjust our wind level, our wind, we have a direct 15 knot, though, right now. I got some white caps down there. 3 reds for the beach. Cheating a little bit right of center line, right? We talked about that. I don't have any call outs, which is unfortunate. D-crab. Hold it. Spoilers, reverse green. We're decelling wonderfully. The callouts stopped working after the first landing, which is interesting. Manual brakes. So I'm going to use manual brakes. 70 knots. So notice there was no sliding. That felt pretty good. Let me stop the recording. Let me save it. Fenix test 3, crosswind. The winds were off. So the winds were null at 0. It did feel like the winds were... you can see the crosswind is still direct out. It's still a direct crosswind. I will adjust. There was no crosswind below 20 feet. Okay, well, let's take a look at it first. Let's take a look at how we did with the crosswind. And then we'll adjust the wind layer. I did notice that, Gus, as we were in the flare, I saw that the wind had sheared off on the ND, but I saw the windsock was still out, so I don't know, you know, I'm not sure. So if I can get my spoilers down here. There they go. Encrypt. I'm using Flight Recorder for this replay because it's easier for me to just zap back real fast and take control of the airplane like I'm going to do here in a minute. So yeah, this is Flight Recorder. Wind shifted, a quartering tailwind from the left in the flare. I think that's caused the weirdness you felt in MSFS. All right, we'll take a look at it. So right here, we still got 15 knots direct. You can still see the wind over the water. So there's definitely wind down there. It might just be the ND, but we will adjust. Don't worry, we will adjust the wind layer. We have a nice crab here. Gosh, I wish we had a flyby view and a freaking runway view. Why don't we have that? We still have crab. Like, we're still crabbing here. We still have wind. We're decrabbing the aircraft. Hold it out. Beautiful decrab. Touchdown. Reversers, a little off center line. If anything, the winds get blocked by the buildings, it seems like. Well, Gus, I still put... Hey, that's an Xplane fault then, because I still put the winds the same exact values. The winds were at the same values that I use at Xplane. If the Xplane wants to maintain it all the way, that's Xplane's problem. Hashtag triggered. No, here we go. We're going to try this again. We're going to try this again with me flying it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the replay. Okay, so now I have control, right? So I have control. I'm going to pause the sim. So I have control. Let's readjust the wind layer. Let's take a look at this. So we are live weather off. Let's add our wind layer again. We're going to go 1.8. Can I just drag it? 180 and speed of 20 knots. Gust speed of... Let's keep doing that. Stop it. Hold on, I'm going to pop this out. You're going to go black screen real quick. gust speed of 8. Okay, gust speed of 8. Alright, now you should have your screen back. So you can see here I've got a gust speed of 8. How do I make this more at the ground level? Oh, it got rid of it again? Are you serious? Oh, but gusts need to be at 180 as well. So our gusts at 180. I mean, I'm at the ground. I'll lower it all the way down, right? It's all the way down to ground level. So we're all the way down. 20 knots. Let's see if this makes a difference. Alright, unpause. I gotta get the auto thrust on. We're slow here, correcting. Speed, speed, speed. Alright, so we'll take a look. We're still 20 knots direct. Crosswind. We'll try again. We're going to use low brakes again. The reason I'm using low brakes is because I want the same amount of pull force from the... Okay, so we lose our weights. That's alright. I want the same amount of force of the brakes decelerating on the nose wheel as the nose wheel comes down. Alright, so our 148 on the speed probably could be a little bit light. Let's come back to 146. I got all out of sorts. Let's see if we can get... We're gonna increase our rate of descent here. I know we're gonna get an orange descent rate, but let's see if we can get it in the slot here and then be stable. Alright, so we're still looking 17 direct cross. Approaching the slot. Roll it out. I wonder if it's blocking the wind. Well, that was a beautiful touchdown. Change gust to 28. Okay, I mean this is new for me. Let's wind it back. Boom. Pause. Stop. Replay. I have control. I'm flying again. I mean it's too good. Let me go auto thrust back on. Get our speed up in there. I set 20, gusting 8. Okay, so I need to adjust the gust to 28. Let's do that. Turn live weather back off. Wind layer. Pop me outside. 180 at 2. I'll tell you what, let's go 25 knots. Wind speed at 180 at 25. Gusting from the same direction of 180 to 28. Let's do gust 29. Are we content? We're gusting to 29. We've even added 5 more knots, and we are. That's all the way down. That's mean ground level, right? It's on the ground level. So it's as far down as I can push it. So let's give this a try. Close that out. Let's get back in the airplane. We got to unpause. Okay. It's going to do a weird dance. I have control. Auto thrust is on. Auto thrust is kicking back in. Alright. If you look at the top, it shows 25 gust 2. Oh, Ryan, thank you. Okay, I didn't see that before. Thank you, man. So hopefully we'll carry this all the way down. So we actually have 5 knots more on this setting than we did in Xplane. So we're solid 25 across right now. We'll do the same technique. We'll try to cheat a little bit to the right. And actually, with the way I'm able to control the airplane on the ground, I don't even know if I need to cheat to the right, to be honest with you. Yeah, wing views work to a day, Dreamrosity. I don't know why. Oh, let's do auto brake slow again quickly. Auto brake slow. Alright. Now I got distracted. Let's get back over here. Ah, got to turn recording on. Recording's on. Wind it down. Decrab. See, the wind completely shifted. Hold on. We're gonna say the wind is dead down here at the ground. I think the buildings are affecting the wind. I honestly think they are. Because look at this windsock. The wind dies, but the winds are still blowing down here on the ground. I think the winds are being... Let me try that. Let me turn on 3D thermals. Ah, I gotta reset everything again. Why can't I just... Oh, I should have saved it. So wind. (180) at 30. Do 30 knots. Gusting 30 from here. Show 3D thermal. Alright, how can I save this? I'm gonna save this. Oh, I can't. Backspace brings me in and out. Custom clear wins. Let's do that. Save to the PC. Whoa, so hold on. Does that mean if I... Whoa. Look at... Yeah, it's bouncing off of the... Hold on, this is that replay. Look at that. Yeah, look, look, look. You can see it's deflecting. The wind is being deflected as we come across the threshold. This was the landing with the... This one wasn't even as good as my other landing. Hold it out. And like, see, I was cheating to the right, but I actually didn't even need that because in the sim, the wind was... It died off. So those are deflections off the mountains over there. But if you look at this windsock, it's straight out. So hold on. That's only thermals? Okay, so that only shows the thermals. It doesn't show the wind. Okay. That would make sense. No, he's actually right. That's not wind. Those are only thermal layers. So that would... I mean, that makes the most sense. I'll tell you what. Let me see if I can load... No, I don't want to save that one. That one, I didn't like that one. Let me load this one here. Stop the replay. I have control. Brakes hot, I know. Auto thrust on, clear that. Park brake off. Clear you out. Try to move the wind from the ground. But here's the thing. I mean, it's clearly on the ground. Let me see. You're right. Let me see, though. Let me pause. Gosh, I hate how it does that. Now if I do custom clear winds, good. Now let's bring it up. Ground at. You see how it fades off? At ground, look, at ground 179, 179.31, gust 3.1. So it's gusting at 31 knots. Let's try this one. Recording is on. Pause is off. Gonna be a little unstable here. I can definitely feel those gusts. So there's some thermal there right off the... Oh, that was at the beach? So, because there's a thermal off the beach? Alright, we're solid 20 still. You guys watch the ND. I'm going to try to land. Doing my control on the rudders. Perfect centerline control. I don't know. Died off again. It shifts. But, I mean, wouldn't... Here's the thing, though. Hold on. Hold on. Wait a second. The ND win would die off because Wouldn't the ND wind die off in the flare anyway? Who cares about ND wind? The ground has the wind. Because the static ports are going to be blocked upwind. I mean, these static ports are going to be completely blocked as we start. Yeah, that's the wind is at ADIRS. It's not directly from the sim, like Flame is saying. I still think we have winds. But yeah, and Sam is right. The Airbus, I don't think the Airbus is going to show accurate winds in the flare. Yeah, when I decrab, it won't read it. And I'm telling you, because I can feel it. Look, if there was no winds at the ground, watch. We're going to run this one forward. If there was no winds at the ground, I wouldn't need to be crabbed right here. Right? Like if I wasn't crabbed, if there was no winds, I would be flying that direction. I would be flying. See, so now I'm decrabbing, I'm decrabbing, I'm decrabbing. And we're greasing it on. Airplane is trying to weather vane to the right. I'm holding it to the left. Drop the nose wheel right on the center line. I mean, it's trying to weather vane. It's 100% because of the decrab. It's got to be. No, Ryan, I am being pushed. Hold on. Here, I got an idea. I'm gonna run it back. I'm gonna do no corrections. Watch this. So I'm gonna land with no crosswind corrections. Let's just stop. I'm gonna just land with no crosswind corrections. Okay, auto brakes are on. I'm at idle thrust. Okay, we're gonna smash. I'm just gonna try to not do any crosswind correction. So this is with no crosswind correction. This is what's happening. So it's definitely impacting the airplane. It's not fixed. The aircraft is departing from the center line. Why are we still... So, look, I'll do it again. Let's do it again. I mean, there's no... I'll even... Let's see. We'll go auto brakes off. I have the thrust levers. Oh, we're way too fast. Hold on. I got an idea. What if I go gear up? I got an idea. Let's just fly fast. Low level. Let's do a low pass. Look, we're 20 knots. We're 20 knots of crosswind here at 40 feet. We still have 20 knots. It's because of the decrab, y'all. The sim is actually more accurate in crosswind physics. Because it was still showing crosswind at 40 feet as we were flying across. It's got to be... Let's see if I can do a pirouette here without stalling it. Speed. Oh, poor Mir's going to be upset I break his airplane. I mean, look, now we got gust the third. Look, I'm feeling the gust of the coming off the mountains here. We'll clean up the airplane. Let's go completely clean. I don't think I can turn this over hard enough to get parallel to the runway. Let's do it over the water. Oh no, then you'll say, oh, well, you're over the water. Of course it's windy. You can't win with gusts. Wait a second. Look, it's I found it, guys. Look, watch this. Watch the ND wind. Watch when I go left rudder. Oh, I can't. When I go right rudder, look, it's affecting how the wind is being read on the ND. It's actually modeled the way the wind is being received to the airplane. That is next level. That's what it is. That's what it is. Sam was right all along. It was legitimately doing what it was supposed to do. I'm actually kind of blown away. So let's watch this last replay then. Let's analyze it. We know what we did. Let me put this down. I gotta go flaps down, gear down. We'll look at flap juice while it's doing its thing here. But guys, I'm actually, honestly, I'm blown away by that. The wind readout is being detected by the, like when I'm decrabbing and I'm moving the airplane away from the relative wind, so therefore it's showing that the wind is dying because the aircraft, if we're going like this, the wind is this direction, right? So we're crabbed, but as I pull the nose away from the wind, it's subtracting that wind readout because I'm yawing the aircraft away from the wind. That is next level wind modeling physics. That's, I'm actually blown away by that. Let's watch this landing from the outside and see what it looked like. I mean, I'm just as surprised as you guys, honestly. D-crab, hold it. A little bit of an over D-crab there, and I don't mind my wiggly wings. We've been really hurting the flight model with these replay stuffs. But, oh, there's my alarm for it's 1:30. And people said Microsoft was just a game. Dude. I don't know what to tell you, man. I'm actually... I'm very surprised. But I guess I shouldn't be. Saucy or Samuel Joseph, thanks for the $5, man. And that was the Physics 101 by V1. Finals next week class. Exactly. Thank you, AJ, for the $3 super chat. Breaking planes and NDAs at V1 Sim. That's what I'm here for. All right. So here we go, y'all. Let's grade the aircraft. I'm actually blown away by that. So let's finish our grading here. Let's do this first. Migs, thanks for the 5 Canadian, man. I appreciate you. My previous super chat. Oh no, sorry, Migs. I missed your super, dude. I've been so in depth of like trying to see what trying to see what's going on here, Migs. I apologize. He says my previous ignore super chat. It looks like I had tuned in just at the right time for Fenix and 24 for the surprise win. I mean, for the physics aspect of it alone, how it's reading wind, absolutely. We got to do the 250-330 Excel decel test. I tell you what, okay, do we have time for that? I think we do. So let me stop, let's not grade. Let's unhide that. I'll tell you what, how wide are we? We're 165, it won't be that off. So I have control, we're gonna go into a go around flaps, positive rate. No, we don't have positive rate. Shouldn't have done any of that, but I'm trying to just get us up here level up to 3,000. We're going to clear out the weather. So we're going to go live weather, clear skies. We're going to do the Excel decel test. Thank you. And then we're going to do our grading. So flight directors are coming back on. Auto thrust is back armed. Flaps 1. Autopilot 1. Open climb. Lever climb, I'll get you in a second. Let me bug 250. We got to do our acceleration deceleration test. We're going to spin off to heading 180 because that's what we were flying in Xplane. I'll turn off the thermals too. I didn't realize that. It's kind of cool to see what's going on though. I'm going to turn thermals off too. Nope, that's my bad. Lever ASM, thrust climb, flap 0, we're cleaned up. All right, we're accelerating to 250, 3,000. Everything's on. How do I turn off the Z thermals here? There we go, we'll show 3D thermal off. There we go, okay, cool. We're back at it, we're accelerating. I wish I could find who it was who said something about the ND winds being inaccurate in the flare, because I just repeated what they were saying. Yeah, and I thought about that, but then, yeah, I guess I didn't think that would be possible to simulate, you know? Check brake temps. The brake temps are smoked, dude. We've been smoking our brakes a couple landings. We're over 500 degrees. Our brake temps are smoked. I mean, this airplane is smoked. We're a little bit lighter than we were in the Fenix, but let's go ahead. Here we go. We got to do one more test. So, let's go ahead and hit the chrono, and we're going to go Toga thrust. So Toga, chrono's on. And we're going to stop the chrono at 330 knots exactly. Now we are a little bit lighter. We didn't even have the fuel below 6,600 pounds. So I don't know if someone could scrub back and see what our fuel load was on Xplane. But I would imagine we're just a little bit lighter than we were. 330. Stop the timer. Come back to idle. So we're at, oh, it was at 29 seconds. I didn't stop it. It was at 29 though. I'm gonna reset and we're gonna start at 330 on the decel. It was right at 29 seconds. There's 330. Start the chrono. $29 or 28 seconds. We'll just call it 29. All right, now we're decelerating. We're going to stop the chrono. We're at idle thrust. We're going to come all the way back to 250 and stop the chrono. We were just above 8,000 pounds. Okay, so we are true blue. So let's use this. We had a little bit more weight in Xplane. Let's see. Our numbers should take. We should be a little bit faster, I would imagine, right, to accelerate. Expect a salty Toliss email. Look, well, we're not even done grading yet. Oh, I gotta bring you all the way back so it doesn't thrust up. And 250 knots. A minute four. Get who a free membership? Walla? What did Walla say? I gotta scroll back. Oh, Walla was the one that said it? Okay, well, hats off to Walla, man. Thank you. Alright. So, 104 on the clock. So let's bring out our... And this one was 29. Now 100. So we're a minute 4, so that's 64 seconds. Alright. Let's grade. Okay, so looking at our acceleration, deceleration, it looks like we actually got to 330 knots, 3 seconds slower. I mean, it was either 28 or 29. I missed it. So it's definitely at least a second or two slower. I would say that's probably within the realm of air, right? 3 to 5 knots. I'd say anything over 5 knots we'd have to dissect. 84 versus 64. So we actually decelerated 20 seconds faster. This is an interesting test. I'm going to have to see which... I don't have a real world number for you. I don't know how long it takes to go from 330 to 250 at 3,000 feet. We obviously have a 20-second discrepancy here. So this is either one airplane has too much drag or one airplane has a little bit too little of drag. And remember I said the Toliss seemed a little bit too slippery when we were doing our normal deceleration at just configuring the airplane. I said the Toliss, although slippery, was a little bit too slippery. I'm going to say the deceleration in the Toliss is a little bit, doesn't have enough drag, and I'm going to say the Fenix might have a touch too much drag is what I would say. Because that deceleration at 84 and 64, I don't know what the real world data would be on there. Maybe next time I'm in the sim, I will check it. You never flew a plane into here? Opinion invalid. Where? No, I've flown into St. Martin. I've definitely flown into St. Martin, man. Multiple times. I've taken an Airbus there and a Citation there. All right, so let's grade. Let's actually put our grades, though. So for acceleration, just normal feeling of the aircraft, we'll give it a 10, and we'll give it a 10 on decel as well, because I don't know which airplane is more accurate or which is more representative of the real thing. They both feel great. My end summary would be, I think Fenix has a touch too much drag, and I think Toliss has a little too little drag. I think that's kind of the end base summary. But because I don't have any hard data to back up for you, we'll go 10 and 10 across the board. There's nothing glaring at me The only thing that was glaring at me was the other day in the Fenix, we took off. We couldn't accelerate to get our flaps one up. So I think that's concurrent with my thought process here, saying that there's something is a little too draggy at some part of flight here. Again, this is still an unsupported version of the Fenix in 2024. But I just think that's interesting because that all jives up with each other. So that basically nulls each other. Let's continuing on here. Control input response is dang near perfect, y'all. I showed you both sims. I'm gonna drop a 10 on the Fenix because it is dang near perfect as far as feel goes. It's hard for anything to be perfect. Let's go 9.5. How about that? We'll go 9.5. There's always room for improvement. It's very hard to get 10s. I'm being generous with 10s up here because I don't have hard data to back any of these up. So we're being generous up there. They both feel good. They both feel realistic. Control input response, I'm going to say the Fenix feels more realistic on the control input response, ever so slightly. All right, it is definitely, it has the right level of responsiveness, in my opinion. The Toliss, while it's not bad or inaccurate for that matter, it just feels like I'm constantly driving a truck, you know? So we'll move on. The inertia in flight. Let's go right into it. Let's give it another 9.5. I mean, well, to be fair, the Toliss was spot on too. Let's give them both 9s. We'll stay 9 on 9, all right? Because I flying around the pattern, adding wind, no wind, both felt good. Inertia on the ground. Fenix is going to take the win here. We're going to go 8.5 for sure on the Fenix. Hey, let's go even, I tell you what, let's give them a 9 because the control input of keeping the aircraft on the center line in those crosswinds, the decrabbing of the aircraft after we landed on the ground, you didn't see me S-turning on the center line hardly at all, right? You didn't see me S-turning. I was S-turning in Xplane, and I have the same rudders, the same sensitivities. That just has to do with that inertia on the ground. There is a definite improvement. Now, an interesting asterisk about this is if we were in 2020, I think this would be closer to a 7. This is a straight up 2024 difference in the simulator. It's 2024 is feeling different. I'm telling you guys. Crosswind physics in flight. Toliss gets the win on that one. 9.5 for Toliss. Remember, for Fenix. Toliss was over-exaggerated. My flight path vector was too far off. We even upped the wind an extra 5 knots, and we had 28, 29 knots of direct crosswind, and it had a much more realistic view. I have seen the runway behind the A pillar in a crosswind before, and that was in a 35-knot direct crosswind. So the A pillar is not really blocking the runway until you're 35 knots direct crosswind or higher. Okay. I've also seen the runway behind this pillar when we were landing in DFW with 45, 46 knots of crosswind from the left. So I know where the references are, and the Toliss, albeit is good, the Fenix is more accurate representation of the placement of the flight path vector and how the aircraft sits. So that's a win. Crosswind physics on touchdown, we're going 9.0 for the Fenix. Okay. We're going here 9.0 for the Fenix. I was using almost just second nature inputs, which I would hope I would be using because I've been on the plane for 10 years, to keep the airplane on centerline, and everything stayed on centerline just fine. In the Xplane version, we had to have full right aileron and right brake to just try to get that wing down and prevent a pod strike. All right. So there was definitely some issues on the Xplane crosswind landing. The only one that was better was when I really try to grease it on and I go into it with full right aileron. I was able to hold it down, but I can't tell you the last time I had to use full right aileron was it was actually full left aileron. It was 3 or 4 years ago. At that time we were landing with 45 knots of wind in DFW. We had about a week straight where we had sustained winds of 40 and 50 knots. Sustained, and gusts on top of that, and that's when I saw that, and that's when I was like, I mean, you were at the stops to keep the airplane on the runway on the center line. So Definitely touchdown physics. We'll even bump it up a 9.5 because I was that impressed with it. I mean, I was that impressed. On ground, so this is after we touch down. The wings are down, the wheels are down. We have the even deceleration with the auto brakes. Definitely goes to the Fenix and in Microsoft Flight Sim. I had no departure from centerline. If you remember on the Toliss rollout with the Crosswind, I could not. I had full left rudder. I could not bring the aircraft back to centerline. I had to use left brake to get the aircraft to break from the wind and get back to the center line. So that's kind of what I'm talking about, and that would play in the rollout phase here, where we'll give it a 9 as well. Crosswind landing physics in 2024 is it's awesome. Okay, is it 100% realistic? No, and I've said this before. No desktop sim is going to be 100% realistic. The level D sims that we train on are not 100% realistic. They are very, 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 very close. They give you a great idea. They give you the ability to go fly the real thing and not crash it, but it's still not the real airplane. Nothing handles like the real airplane except the real airplane, and guess what? Each airplane handles different amongst itself. So, but that aside, these numbers here being so high for Crosswind, I'm telling y'all, in 2020 they would not be that high. Okay. All right. Now this is where it's going to get ugly. If I've hurt your feelings so far, I apologize. You shouldn't have hurt feelings, but we just got to speak straight facts here. The 3D model is a 10. The sounds are a 10. The textures are a 9.8. The wing flap juice is a 10. All right. We knew that was going to happen, though. All right, we knew that was going to happen. So let's go ahead and tally these up here. Amir stopped by the chat. Awesome. He said, let me see if I have some figures for those decel numbers. So Amir is actually going to look. Let me know what you come up with. Amir is here. He said he's going to look for some actual acceleration and deceleration numbers. Again, we were just kind of seeing the difference between the two sims. And like I said, I don't have any hard data to back these up, so I'm going to be lenient with both of them. I didn't see any glaring issues on either aircraft in either sim for acceleration and deceleration at 3,000 feet. But I'm going to go ahead and start tallying these up here. So let's start with the Toliss. We got 10 plus 10 plus 9 plus 9 plus 7 plus 8 plus 6 plus 8 plus 7. Okay, so without visuals, the Toliss is totaled at 74. Without visuals, so let's keep going with the visuals. We've got a 5 plus a 7 plus a 5 plus a 7 for a total of 98 with visuals. Toliss is 98. All right. With visuals, and without visuals it's at a 74. So now we're going to go up the right hand side. So we've got 10 plus 10, that's 20, plus 9.5 plus 9 plus 9 plus 9.5 plus 9 plus 9.5 plus 9. That's a 84.5 without visuals aspects. Okay, so we've got 84.5 or 84.5, 84.5. And then with visuals, 94, 104, 114 plus 114.5 plus 9.5 is 124. So on our V1 scale, the undisputed victor in today's competition. V1 can barely read. I really trust his math. Oh my gosh. Thank you, man. Appreciate you, Stephen. Tom H. These ratings are rigged, dead to me. Listen, Tom, I appreciate the $2 super chat. Man, look, Amir said, I found a good lead. Give me a couple minutes. So let's hang tight. Let me do a replay of our last landing. Amir's doing, he's digging into some data. So let's let Amir do some data digging. We'll see if he gets back to us here. We'll get our flaps configured. Let's let y'all watch another landing here. Let me load in the old wind layer that we had. This is the wind layer that we had. The flaps are trying to extend out here. It's going to take a second. I don't know. It might be. I think it's dead. I think we finally broke it. Maybe we finally had a WASM crash or something. Yeah, I can't get the gear down. Oh no, I have active pause on. That's why. All right, so there you go. Now compare default 172s. Well, here's the thing, guys and gals. If you like this and you want to see more comparisons like this, I need y'all to hit that like button. We've had up over 900 people in here. I really appreciate everybody tuning in today. And if you want to see maybe a Laminar 330 versus the INI 330 in Microsoft, and again, we're not going to be comparing sim visuals. It's just airplane to airplane because we all know the difference. Oh, the weights. We were 100 and oh gosh, I call it 160,000 pounds. Whatever you got closest to 160, I don't remember exactly what I know when we started the stream, we were 170,000 pounds, and then we did 3 or 4 touch and goes and circuits, so anywhere in there, 160, 165, somewhere in there. So Amir's doing some rummaging. We'll keep watching this replay here. Actually, let's load up another replay. Let's load up, hold on, let me stop that. Let me load. Let me do the real weather landing. So this was real weather, so we'll go back to real weather here, live weather. I'm not comparing sim visuals because we know where we are, X-plane rain puddles. Well, yeah, we're not going to compare the sim visuals, but I got to tell you, look, at the end of the day, oh, results are in, everybody stand by. Amir has results. Amir has results. Everybody stand by. The 321 with IAE Sharklets at 3,000 feet, 160,000 pounds. We're all waiting anxiously. 1.9 minutes. Or a minute, so what is that? That's 69 seconds. 69 seconds. And we're at 64 seconds. Oh, he says. So we are. And look, that would actually be. That is exactly 66 seconds. 1.09 minutes. 66 seconds. Terrible math. I got close. 66 seconds. 66 seconds. I have sent you the document in the Discord for verification. All right, we will look at it. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Oh wow, this is like hardcore data file here. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. 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 I'm not, I swear. I didn't show anything. Close your eyes. It's because it opened a text file. Daggone it. It's too late. I didn't see anything. That's 2 strikes. I owe you twice now. Oh my word. Well now, okay, I'm done. I'm done. Let's just end the stream before Amir bans me from even flying Fenix. Oh my word. I'm dead to Amir. I'm dead. Amir, I'm dead to you. All right, I'm going to look at it off stream and analyze it. So essentially, guys, yeah, the reason it showed, I'm sorry, is because I opened it as a text file. Gosh dang it. This is our old rating. Yeah, this is the old one. I can show this one. So so at 66 seconds, remember I said it's just like, I felt like we needed a little bit more drag. So 66 or a little less drag would give us a little bit more time, right? 66 seconds. We're at 64. So you can see that even, I mean, it is right in the margin of air, and I don't even know if we were exactly 160,000 pounds. So we could even be closer than that if we were at exactly 160,000 pounds. This, I definitely said it was a little bit too slick, too slippery. So even with those, I mean, so I could change these ratings if we wanted to. We could knock this down to a 7. And then the Toliss would end up at a 95, right? So, and this would end up at 69 for the final rating. Or that would be 5. Now this was 71. Knock it off 3 points. So, that's it. That's it. I'm done. I'm done looking at data. I'm done looking at number. I'm done violating everything Amir says don't show on stream, and I show it on stream, because Amir's going to just not ever come back to the channel ever again. Now, this is actually a really cool replay. We're going to do the full-blown replay with the go-around here. I'm going to sync up my auto thrust to make sure that's on, get the flaps up, and then I'm going to get out of here because I have to go to the airport. I have to go pick up my father-in-law. I don't want him to be stranded at the airport. So, shout out to Amir and the team. What a great dev. I mean, there's absolutely, I mean, look, Toliss is a good dev as well. I mean, Toliss, in their platform, they are the leader in Xplane. The Toliss 321 is the leader in Xplane. There's no doubt about it. In Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, there is an undisputed victor and leader in Airbus simulation, and we are down to splitting seconds in the simulator. I mean, that is how close we are getting to the real thing. So I'm actually very surprised at the results to this. I had a feeling that it was going to be close, but once we got to the Crosswind test, I got blown away by the handling in 2024. So, Migs, thanks for the 5 Canadian, man. I appreciate you. Boeing secret whistleblower reduction in foreign intel department taking notes on that juicy datey. Oh my gosh, there's nothing to see here. I'll can it. I'll just, yeah, my bad. Anyway, I'm done. But if you want to see more comparisons, maybe the 330, maybe the 172's default, seeing them battle it out, we can do that. Look at the shadow coming over the beach. How cool is that? So, again, as Sam says, after seeing this, you know, how could anyone need or want the FS Labs? And that's what I'm saying. They're going to have a hard time in this market. So there's our touchdown. Let's go ahead and go around flaps. Bring it up till we hit the tail. Ooh. Yep. Oh, we might have taken a pitot tube off on that one. Positive rate, go around. And we're out of here. All right, guys and gals, thank you all for tuning in. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I will not be here tomorrow or Friday if you're in the U.S. Amir, we'll see you, my friend. Thank you for hanging out with us. I'm sorry again for being such a boomer and violating top secret data. So it is what it is, man. You never know what you're going to get. V1 Nation. It's like a box of chocolates. One day I might fly an airplane. One day I might violate an NDA. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. You all have a wonderful rest of your week. Stay safe. Stay healthy. I'm V1. See you.